All right. I'm going to kick us off with our welcome and then turn it over to Michelle and Hannah to get y'all going on the content. As I mentioned just a second ago, we are still seeking a volunteer note taker. If there is not a volunteer note taker, we just won't have notes to share afterwards. We will still be sharing the slides and the recording. Hannah, so on the next slide, you've got the link to the website where we'll be sharing the slides and the recording from today's president's meeting. As always, this is recorded as a way to provide that as a resource for those that aren't able to make it live. All right, and then we've got a lot to get to. And Michelle, I'm going to let you take it from here as we get into the chaos that is April 2025 and what's coming up.
So it's down to the wire today, adding stuff as we're getting going. So our March presidents and advisors chapter meetings, just a reminder that this is a list of all the meetings coming up for the remainder of the year. If you haven't received these yet, we've been sharing them kind of every meeting. First thing I want to do before we really launch into the content of our meeting today is just check in with our Master Naturalist family and you as representatives of your chapter. We've had some wild weather here over March, starting with some the highest West Texas winds we've seen in West Texas, Central Texas, and across the state that we've ever seen. Some recent storms going on. One top of mind right now is I'm in Kerrville, and we had a terrible hailstorm that made national news, international news, that just came out of nowhere on Sunday. And then with the recent winds and fuel loads, the drought that we're in and fuel loads across the state, we've had some wildfires take place over the past month as well. So I want to check in with our chapters and you as representative of your chapters to see how our members are doing. If there's any impact to specific members, let us know that, and let us know how the recent events may have affected your chapter locally. So give people just a minute, a couple seconds to enter any chat. But most of all, we want to make sure that everyone is safe. Not most of you, all of you are safe. Your chapter members are safe. And if there's any help that is needed, let us know. All right, moving on to April 2025. We've been mentioning to you over the past all new year so far, is that April is a busy month for us. And it's become even busier. So among the entire list of things that we've been talking to you about April and everything coming up in April, there's a couple of other things we want to let you know about too. Even more new things coming in April. So be looking for an update and announcements on the Pollinators for Texas project. We have some new webinars that we are looking to offer in relationship to related to that project. So be looking for those to be scheduled soon. They may be April, they may be just outside of April, but we'll be announcing those things in April. Other announcements coming up, some new and exciting partnership and initiatives for the program. We have our annual meeting call for proposals that has been shared, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in upcoming slides. A big event for April related to all the things in April being our International Volunteer Recognition Month, Volunteer Recognition Week happening in mid-April. And one of the things that our program has moved to April is our virtual volunteer fair. So in celebration of all things volunteer in April, we'll have more things coming up in the subsequent slides talking about all of those celebrations. We can move ahead. So we've been showing you this slide for a couple of months. There's lots going on in April. I it's going to be a busy month. We've been mentioning that. Everything is on the to-do list for this month. So it's National Volunteer Recognition Month, our virtual volunteer fair, National Volunteer Week. Earth Day also happens to be in the middle of that week. We have City Nature Challenge coming up, our chapter presidents and advisors monthly meeting, the City Nature Challenge identification period, and then, as we mentioned before, some new project updates and initiative announcements coming out. And Hannah has been busy working on all things. Oh, sorry, I jumped ahead. As we've been busy working on all things National Volunteer Month and Recognition Week, I want to give you just a little update on the milestone pins. So as a reminder, milestone and certification and recertification pins are available through our AgriLife Learn store. We believe all of our chapters have been entitled, what they call entitled now. And so when you do go to order these pins and certificates, all you'd have to do is log in and you'd have the correct permissions upon login for ordering. The big announcement here is I know many of you have been waiting on 4,000, 5,000, and the other larger 10,000 hour milestone pins. And I've been waiting for quite a while now to send all those out because especially with the 4,000 hour pins, those come with the Presidential Volunteer Service Award. And so there's two things that need to happen when those get sent out. One is the Master Naturalist 4,000 hour pin is sent out, and then also the Presidential Volunteer Service Award is sent out together. And it costs anywhere from $7 to $15 to send a package, to send one of those packages from my office to your chapters. So I try to gang them up together and include the 4,000, both awards for the 4,000 hour milestone together. I've been waiting on those Presidential Volunteer Service Awards to be restocked. They've been on back order, and not only have the pins, not only are we waiting for the pins to be restocked, but the complete package, so the certificate, the letter, all of that, we've been waiting on all those to be updated as well. And so there's just has been no update on when those will be restocked and ready to be sent, even for the things that are on back order. And so I'd like to get these things out, get at least our Master Naturalist pins out to your chapters in anticipation that you'll be maybe celebrating some of those milestones in April. And so I'm going to go ahead and fill all of the back orders for the Master Naturalist items only that I can to your chapters. So if you have any new 4,000, 5,000 hours and awards on up from there, if you will go ahead and submit any orders that you need to through the website to be filled. And then at the end of the month, I will pull that again and send out in early April anything that's on back order, anything Texas Master Naturalist pins that are on back order to you so that you can celebrate in April, if that's what you're planning. So again, I apologize on the back order of the PVSA pins. I sent another note yesterday to them asking for an update, and if even just the pins can be updated, because I can't even order the pins, whether they're from last year or this year. So just wanted to give you an update on that. I have received no further update from the PVSA company that fulfills those. All right, and then we hand it over to Hannah. As we mentioned, Hannah and the entire team has been working hard on National Volunteer Month stuff and all the things that go with it. So I'm going to turn over to Hannah to tell you about all of her hard work.
So y'all should have received an email, I think it's about last week, 2 weeks ago, I don't remember at this point, with some of those National Volunteer Month /week resources for your chapter to use. One of those was a Facebook frame. You can see the one that's going to go up on the state programs socials once that gets started. We're going to put that up on April 1st. Feel free to do the same for your chapter. Just remember it's in that email, but we just ask that you don't cover the logo with that frame. So put it over either a scenic photo of the ecoregion you serve or a picture of some of your chapter members hard at work or posing after being hard at work, something like that. We also have those National Volunteer Week stats. Those are intended to be for the number of volunteers in your chapter in 2024 and your number of volunteer hours in 2024. I know last year there was a little bit of confusion on what numbers were intended to go in there, and those are the numbers intended to go in there. We also, this year, this is a new thing that we're doing, have a volunteer highlight template for y'all. At the state program, we are going to be highlighting 4 different individuals hitting 4 different corners of Texas. And so we have that template for y'all as well if you want to highlight a few members from your chapter specifically. Yes, I updated the password for 2025. You should have that in your email inbox as well for that templates and resources page. But these specific National Volunteer Month ones were just sent out in an email to you. They're not on that website page. So check your email inbox, search my name in there, and then it should be there for you to access. And then the final thing that we have for National Volunteer Month, and we'll kind of touch on it a little bit more later, which is something that another chapter is doing in relation with National Volunteer Month and their chapter anniversary, is a proclamation with their county judge. So that template has been added to the chapter templates and resources page. I put it in, I believe, the digital resources section. That was a little bit of a tricky one to figure out what section to put it in. But if you go down to digital resources, you'll see this proclamation template that you can use either in conjunction with National Volunteer Month or your chapter's anniversary or both. And it also has some spots for some of those chapter stats as well that you can either take out or leave in depending on what your goal is. Also for April, we have some Pollinators for Texas news coming soon. I know we have a lot of coming soon that we're saying, but just get excited. All the things that are coming soon are very exciting. So just keep an eye out on socials and the listserv for those announcements. And just a reminder that we have that page on our website that you can check back on periodically. And the contact for all things Pollinators for Texas is Hannah Thornton, not Hannah Ferguson, this one here, Hannah Thornton, our other Hannah, blonde curly hair. And her email is right there as well. Also in April, of course, is our National Volunteer or Virtual Volunteer, I'm getting all confused, Virtual Volunteer Fair for National Volunteer Month, our April TMN Tuesday. We have 6 projects this year, so it's very exciting. It is scheduled for 11 to 1 p.m. If you have already registered for all the TMN Tuesdays, you probably saw that updated time email go out last week. The agenda is currently on the website and the catalog is coming soon. Volunteer signups will open after the event. And then more information is being added to that blog post as we have it. So you can see here we have our agenda. This is also on the website. So for anyone interested in seeing who specifically is presenting, the title of the project, that sort of thing, you can view that there. And again, that catalog will be coming probably by the end of this week. And then if your chapter members are asking you questions about what exactly is the Virtual Volunteer Fair, what can I expect, how do I join, how do I sign up to volunteer, we have this slide for you here. And of course, this slide deck will be on our website along with the recording, so you can pull it from that. And this also, all this information is on that web page that we have on the website. And back to Michelle for this one.
Okay. So one of the things we want to do, normally one of the things we address during this meeting and have been is proper use of our master naturalist name, title, and when it's appropriate and when it's not. And one of the things that we've received a lot of questions over in the past week is a bill that was proposed in the current legislative session It's relating to the abolishment of Texas Parks and Wildlife and its commission and transferring those duties to other agencies within the system already. And the things I want to iterate with this slide is, first of all, thank you for your concern. And just let you know that the legislative session has been a busy one already, with thousands of bills that affect not only just Parks and Wildlife, but both of our sponsoring agencies. And so I believe the agencies are tracking, those thousands of bills that as they relate to them. And to your chapters, thanks for your concern over how such a proposed bill might affect the Master Naturalist Program and the agencies. The one thing I want to iterate is that current media indicates that the bill sponsor no longer intends to move the bill further in the process. But regardless of that, and regardless of any of the bills filed that could affect our program or specifically the agencies that sponsor our program, as of right now, it's business as usual. And it's business as usual until the close of the session and finalization of any proposed bills. These things tend to change and morph as they go through the process. But our program today is business as usual. So where you might have seen something that you think could affect your chapter, it's premature to begin planning and thinking about how this might affect your business at the local chapter level at this point. So I want to reiterate that regardless of any bill or things in the session right now, we are business as usual at this point. And another reminder of the recent events is that Master Naturalists, and many of you asked about contacting your representatives regarding this or other bills. And so a reminder, a strong reminder that Master Naturalist volunteers cannot use your TMN title, your chapter name, your program or chapter membership in connection with any advocacy or to invoke policy. Public comment should only be made as a private citizen, and your TMN title should never be associated with your public comments at any level of state or local government. And then a reminder that these are historic guidelines for the Master Naturalist Program and use of the title. These are not new or new because of anything that has taken place so far. This has been the policy of the program since its inception. I want to go to the next slide. And so those reminders remain. Use of the Master Naturalist title, then Texas Master Naturalist title, your chapter name, your program and chapter membership should never be used in connection with advocacy or to invoke policy at any level. And I'm saying these again as reminders. Your Texas Master Naturalist title and certification should never be used for personal gain or profit, or in connection with your own personal advocacy or attempts to invoke policy. Remember, the Master Naturalist logo are title and trademarks of the program. Chapters and members through their chapters must seek state office approval when adding them to blanket statement, chapter t-shirts, chapter merchandise, chapter and project flyers, etc. And then the last item here, public comment should only be made as a private citizen. Your title, TMN title, should never be associated with your public comments. Some recent examples to note: contacting your legislator, contacting agency commission and commission members, providing comment at city council meetings, public comment periods, or other documents, to name a few. So just a reminder on all of those things, and if you could help relay that information to your membership and kind of keep that fresh and top of mind really annually, and when there are issues that come up. Again, I want to reiterate thank you for your concern on these issues. And then you want me to cover this one, Hannah, or you want to cover it? Me? Okay. So just a reminder, again, this is another item we've been covering at all of our meetings with you so far this year. On the Master Naturalist logo, any use of the logo on printed materials and merchandise must be pre-approved by the state office. Cohesive branding across all of our chapters is imperative and important to maintain the integrity and recognition of our program and our brand and our mission. Chapter logos are prohibited. However, chapter marks are allowed, and we've covered this over the past couple months, and you can see the examples there on the bottom of the slide. And if you still need assistance with creating a chapter mark, please contact Hannah.
All right, moving along, we're going to give some more updates on some bigger happenings within the Master Naturalist program. One of the milestones that we will reach here shortly is we will have sold 800 of our Texas Master Naturalist license plates. If you'll go to the next slide, Hannah, that is a significant number for us. As we've mentioned in previous meetings before, selling 800 license plates with the DMV allows for us to have our deposit back, our initial $8,000 deposit back into that account. So it's a huge boost. And it's a great milestone that we'll reach here as we enter into the chaos that is April and National Volunteer Month. Our Q4 numbers, our total report numbers in Q4 hit that milestone at 798 total plates sold. I don't know who will be number 800, and I don't think there's any way that we can find out who was number 800, but that would be pretty cool if you're looking to add a new plate, you could just claim that title and not tell anybody. I added some more information on this slide this time around. $30 for the non-personalized plates or $70 for the personalized plates. You can use those two QR codes to go and find those. They're also linked on our main website. And just a fun story, that plate in the top right-hand corner, if you're working on trying to figure out what it says, it was submitted by Samra Buffkins of the Elm Fork chapter. Shout out to Samra. And she sent us the whole story behind this plate. But that plate says hate privet. Because Master Naturalists know that we hate privet. Sam, I can see you jumping up in your seat right now. And when Samra submitted this plate for a request to the DMV, it got denied. Got denied based off of hate speech or mispromotion of hate. And so Samra, being the good Master Naturalist, wrote a long email to the DMV explaining her passion for hating invasive species, and took that moment, instead of getting upset or angry or discouraged, she took that moment as an opportunity to educate. And so somebody now at the DMV is now more educated as the Master Naturalist does, and educated them on what the intention was behind that plate. So she got to have the plate. As you can see, it was printed. And so if you see her on the road, give her a nice honk out there. So again, what a great story behind the Master Naturalist plate. We hates the privets. I love it. All right. Moving into another big story for the Master Naturalist program. Our Texas Master Naturalist Endowment is rolling. We've shared this information before. We're making some updates to our website that are long overdue. A huge shout out to Julie Vickers, who's joined us today as a guest speaker to share some information on what their chapter is doing to help promote the endowment. But as an update for the account, we're currently set at about $175,000 in our account. Our goal is $5 million, which seems lofty, but not that difficult to get to once you start to think about all the ways that a Master Naturalist can give to the endowment: individual gifts, memorial honorary gifts, chapter gifts as well, which Julie's going to share here in just a second. There's also employer gift matching or estate planning. So we encourage you to share this message and resource to your chapter members as they're getting involved with the long-term planning for the Master Naturalist program. So if you'll go to the next slide, Hannah, there is a challenge that has been thrown down And so Julie, if you want to unmute, you can share a little bit about your chapter challenge. You're not unmuted yet.
There we go.
There you go.
So I'm with the Heartwood chapter right north of Houston in Montgomery County, and we're having our 20th anniversary this year. So we felt like a great way to honor our chapter, but also support the TMN program statewide was for us to give a donation to the TMN endowment. And at the same time, we're issuing a challenge to the other chapters to do the same. So I wanted to just reiterate how important the endowment is for the Master Naturalist program. And one of the things is it's a long-lasting investment in the sustainability of the TMN program. So like Mary Pearl said, the goal is $5 million. Our hope is that we can raise $20,000 with this chapter challenge. So chapters can give. There are 15 other chapters that are celebrating milestone anniversaries this year. So if only those chapters gave $2,000, like the Heartwood chapter is doing, we would not only exceed the goal for this challenge, but we would also increase the endowment fund over the $200,000 mark, which would be really awesome. So there's a lot of different ways that chapters can do this. We'll send out some information, but you can give from chapter funds. You can request donations from members. There's a lot of ways that would be very cool to honor or in memory of people who've been very instrumental in your TMN journey, whether that be a member or a teacher or a parent. I think that would be a really great way to do it. And it's a worthwhile, very long lasting donation. And like Mary Pearl said too, you can also make this into your estate planning. There's a lot of different ways that you can give, that would be beneficial for the longevity of the TMN program.
Absolutely. And there's a great question in the chat from Talat from the Alamo area chapter. She asks, who manages the endowment funds and what are the intended uses of the funds? So right now, the Master Naturalist Endowment is housed within Texas A&M Foundation, and those funds are snowballing. We are not touching the endowment until it reaches those larger milestone figures because we're allowing that fund to continue to snowball. The long-term intention of those funds is to support programming within chapters. The exact vehicle that takes hasn't been determined yet. There will be at some point a panel of Master Naturalists, chapter leaders, state agency leaders gathered to be involved in that decision. But our focus right now, rather than on how are we going to use it, is how can we build that snowball? And so that, again, all of the interest that's built off of that account. So A&M Foundation invests that and provides a guaranteed return of at minimum 4%. In some years, it can go up from there. Those are all being returned into the account to, again, continue to build it for the future. So our focus right now is on building, but we do have some plans in the future to start gathering that group of Master Naturalist leaders, state agency folks to think about long-term plans for it. So thank y'all. As Julie mentioned, we're going to have some more information from their chapter, a letter that's going to go out. So a huge thank you to the Heartwood chapter for laying down this challenge and for putting together the slide to request this from other chapters and bringing this back up. So if y'all have any other questions, I will be sharing that letter from Julie here in the next couple hours, hopefully. If not by the end of the day today, first thing tomorrow morning, so that we can get y'all that information as you recap today's meeting back to your chapter members. So thank you so much, Julie. I appreciate it. All right, moving into some of the other tasks that our state office is working on. Rather than sharing the same 3 slides that we've had for the last several meetings, we're going to QR code short snap these. But some ongoing programming that we're working on in the state office. Our TMN governing documents are under their triennial review. We are continuing collection of feedback for those documents using the form that's linked on the page there. And I'll drop those links in the chat here in a second. Now until the end of April. So we'll have a reminder email go out to your inboxes within the next week with that deadline for y'all to have and a direct link as well. But those TMN governing documents are going to be under consideration, are going to be under review this summer. We are continuing to work on updating our statewide curriculum. We're taking that slide out because that is a multi-year project. It will be multiple years before we have an update to that final curriculum and updates. And when we do, we will share those with you, trying to be as transparent in that process as possible and encourage y'all to remember that it is it took 2.5 years for the last book to get worked on. So we're just starting. And then recertification milestone pins, Michelle shared some of the updates there, but we are working on managing that inventory continuously as well. All right, so keep going.
Oh, just 1 second. Reminder on the governing documents. So we will be reviewing comments provided, and then an update wouldn't be the refreshed documents wouldn't go into effect until January 1 of 2026. So there won't be mid-year changes to the operating procedures and policies of the program. If there are changes, they would go into effect at the new year.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat. Can we share the feedback that's been collected so far? So we haven't pulled that yet. We're letting it get submitted. So Susan, I don't know if there's a way for us to share that as a way to avoid that duplication. We'll think on it. We'll talk on it and see if there's a part in that process for secondary review. I don't know what that would look like yet. Let us think on that one. Okay, Hannah, you're up.
So just a reminder, we have our TMN Tuesdays. Obviously, our April 8th TMN Tuesday is that virtual volunteer fair. And so then our next regularly scheduled TMN Tuesday will be May 13th. And then just a reminder for how we set up the announcements for these TMN Tuesdays is the first announcement on who's speaking, what the topic is, will go out 2 weeks prior to that TMN Tuesday event, both on socials and on the listserv. I know we have a couple more that are a little bit later in the month than is typical. So you'll see those announcements a little bit later than is typical because it's always that 2 weeks before. And then second and third announcements will go out 1 week prior and then 1 day prior. So feel free to, when you see those socials pop up, hit that share button and show it to your followers on your chapter socials or your personal ones because it's open to the public. And recordings, those are always up at least that same week. I try to get it up the same day, and I've been doing pretty good so far this year at doing that, but I make no guarantees that I'll keep doing pretty good at doing that. So the guarantee is sometime that week, the recording will be up on our YouTube and on our website. And I'll do a recording reminder post. Y'all saw those last year where it's just showing all the TMN Tuesdays we've had so far, and just a reminder that those recordings are up on the website for people to view at a later date. Was this one me or is this one Michelle?
I think it was me. So we've been talking all year about these big milestones for the program in your chapter. Again, we have 16 chapters celebrating an anniversary this year over this 2025 calendar year. And so if you go to the next slide, we want to share with you some of the feedback. So earlier in the year, you asked, some of our chapters asked for feedback and information about what other chapters have done in the past. And certainly we wanted to thank your chapters for sharing all of that information with the chapters celebrating something this year. And then we've also heard from chapters that are planning something for their anniversary year this year. And so we mentioned earlier the proclamation, which led to a template that, so the Brazos Valley chapter is doing a proclamation to their local county commissioners court or local organization there. And that has now become a template for other chapters to use. Thanks to Hannah for adding that to the chapter templates that are available. Brazos Valley chapter is also doing a chapter canoe trip to help celebrate their 20 years. Heartwood chapter, as you saw earlier, as they're planning their anniversary celebration and appreciation banquet for November, but also they've come up with the endowment challenge, that which you heard from Julie on. East Texas chapter collected many of your ideas from chapters that have already celebrated in the past, and they're planning their event now, so we'll hear more from them to come. And the Tierra Grande chapter is planning their 20th anniversary event to be held in May. And then just a reminder that the Master Naturalist program has been through some of these anniversaries already. So last year we celebrated our 25th anniversary, or we had celebrations covering our 25th anniversary. And so we have anniversary logos that have been developed for the Master Naturalist program for your use at your local chapter level as well. And then to give you an example of some of those logos that are available, we have a 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary. I thought there were some others available. But to give you an example of how that has been used with the Heartwood chapter for this year, you can see on the right-hand side of that slide how the Heartwood chapter is using it. And we also have a step and repeat 20th anniversary banner that is available as a backdrop for any of your chapter celebrations. So if your chapter is interested in using that, or whoever is holding their 20th anniversary celebration first and would like to use it, let us know. And we can help facilitate getting that to your chapter.
Just a quick reminder about the anniversary logos. Obviously, you can see from the Heartwood one, you are allowed to customize those to your chapter. However, those customizations must be sent to me for approval before you use them on any t-shirts or anything like that. So.
Okay. All right. Let's get into the annual meeting. So if you have not saved the date yet, go ahead and put it on your calendar now, October 16th through the 19th. We have the link there. But Hannah, go ahead and go to the next slide. Lots of updates happening with the annual meeting as we're getting into that season. And so I will start to share more and more information on these chapter presidents meetings as we start to progress slowly down this timeline towards October. I said slowly, it's not, it's tomorrow. It's going to happen in a snowball as well. But we have some deadlines coming up here shortly. It feels like. Our call for proposals deadline is May 15th. I have more information on that in the next slide. And I will continue to share this timeline slide with you guys and move our little arrow down as we get later into the year to let you know what big events you need to be on the horizon for, or need to be watching for on the horizon, and sharing with your members. As always, our goal is to share the agenda the 1st of July. And so it says first week to give me a little bit of grace, but my target date is July 1st. And then my target date for opening registration is August 1st. And so that will, again, be something that we'll be sharing more and more information as we get closer to both of those key timelines coming up. We will be ending early registration at the end of August and moving into standard registration where the prices increase just a little bit. And then standard registration or all registration will close September 30th. So that's the end of September there. September has a few deadlines in it. September 1st is when we're going to close all contest and award entries. This is earlier than normal. We'll talk about it here in just a second, and we'll share some more updates on the awards and contests. But we are moving that deadline up to give us more time to process the chapter project presentations and to give us more time to process those awards and get ready for October. So September 1st for all contest and awards. I have a slide on those here in just a second. And then our September 9th TMN Tuesday is our chapter project fair presentation. So that's when we will hear from those projects that are being submitted for that. Okay, so go to the next slide for me. So our call for proposals is open now. We are seeking those advanced training opportunities for our master naturalists attending the conference, 1, 2, 3, 4-hour concurrent advanced training sessions. What our request to you is, as chapter presidents, you've heard some really great speakers this last year. I know you have. You have that one that's popped up to the top of your brain right now. Help us to forward that call for proposals email to those speakers. Invite them, encourage them to consider submitting a session because you really enjoyed that talk about whatever it was. So send those speakers that email, or help broadcast that request to your chapter members. Help share that call for proposals to those members who you think might be a great addition to our agenda as well. Again, that deadline is May 16th. The submission process is an easy form on the website. You can submit either a classroom or a field session in that same link this year. Just making sure. The deadline is the 15th or the 16th. I didn't catch that, Cindy. Thank you. Whichever one is better. I don't know. We'll probably extend the deadline. You guys know us, we're softies. But let's go with the 15th because that sounds
Well,
better.
it just because in the previous slide, it was the 15th.
Of course it was. I didn't catch
Whatever
it.
it says on
Okay.
social.
I'm not the only one that does this. Yay!
Whatever it says on the website and on our social media is the correct date.
There
Yeah.
you go.
It's a Friday. I remember that. I
I'm
don't remember
working
if
on a
that's the 15th
speaker.
or the
I gave a
16th, so.
really good talk at a NIPSOT thing, and I'm really encouraging him to give a speak there.
That's exactly what we need. Is we need folks to share that call for proposals. Thank you so much. The next request that we have out for you as chapter leaders is to help us to gather sponsors. I was hoping to have it on the website, but by the time this meeting rolled around, it fell off the list. So by today, at the end of the day today, I will have the sponsorship request on our website, and I'll put it in your email inboxes so that you guys can share this. But we will be collecting sponsors or requesting sponsors again for the meeting. That helps us to provide additional resources, content, and pieces to the annual meeting every year. And please don't forget that Master Naturalist chapters can also be sponsors. So more information coming soon on the sponsorships, as well as vendors. It's always great to have a full room of vendors at the Master Naturalist Conference that are selling their naturalist gear, artwork, information, things like that. I've bought some really great Christmas presents at the Master Naturalist Conference before. Our request to you as chapter leaders is to help us find those vendors, share our flyer on being a vendor to those companies, those organizations, those individuals that you think might be a great fit to come and join us in College Station. And then last but not least, about the annual meeting, some more information that will be coming soon. Our contest and awards. As I mentioned, all of those entries will be due on Monday, September 1st. I did get that date right. I did cross-check that one. I didn't do the other one. But Chapter Advisor Awards, Chapter Project Fair, Video Contest, and Photo Art and Media Contest, all of those all together will be due September 1st. So go ahead and go to the next one, Hannah. Our request to you is, as you're looking at these awards, start thinking now. Contest rules will go on our website in May, but that doesn't mean that you can't start thinking about these projects and these advisors and these things that you want to submit now as you're going through this great spring weather, this period in your chapter. So Advisors Award, Advisor or Advisor Multiple Award. We have this every year as a way to recognize those wonderful people that help to keep your chapter grounded, help to keep your chapter going, help to provide additional resources or opportunities for your chapters. That can be either an individual advisor or a team of advisors. That application and deadline will be due September 1st. And then our chapter project fair. So our chapter project fair is another opportunity for you to showcase what your chapter is doing locally. We want to know what you've done this past year that you are proud of, you are excited about, you want other chapters to know more information about and maybe mimic in ways. So chapter project fair criteria, that will be on the website within the next month or so, but that project will be due September 1st. The application for the chapter project fair is a short written paragraph describing what the project is. So start thinking about that now. And then those projects will be presented in a 20 minute virtual presentation during our TMN Tuesday in September. So your input into that project fair is a paragraph and a 20-minute presentation. And it's a great opportunity again to showcase what your chapter's been working on this last year. You'll go to the next one. Video contest. The weather's beautiful out today. Take your phone, make some videos. Another way to share what your chapter's been working on, who your chapter members are, some anniversaries, things like that. So again, 1 to 3 minute video that can be shared on our YouTube, on your chapter's YouTube page, and that we can use as promotion for the chapter, for the program, for the projects, for the people that are involved with the Master Naturalist program. Again, also due September 1st. You're getting the trend here, September 1st. Last but not least, our photo art and media contest. The entry window this year is a little bit earlier than last year, but it will be open August 1st through September 1st. Start thinking of the photos that you want to enter now. And those photos have, I think there's 9 different categories there for photos, 3 different categories for art, and then 3 different categories for chapter submission. All right. And so that covers all things annual meeting. As I said at the beginning, we will have more and more information on the annual meeting as we go through these next couple of months of chapter presidents meetings. Hannah, I'm going to kick it back to you now.
Okay, so this is just our monthly reminder that we have a lot of information on our website. So if you have a question, most likely the answer is on there. And then also a little quick reminder that the best way to get all the information on all of these updates in the most timely manner is to sign up for that email listserv. And also to remind you to tell any new chapter members to sign up for that email listserv so they can also be getting all of that information as well. And on the topic of the website, you also should have gotten an email about this, but we have added some new templates in addition to that proclamation that we just added as of yesterday. But we've added some new social templates. I had a lot of individuals email me asking about different questions regarding socials. And so we developed these templates for you to use for social media profile photos as well as Facebook cover photos. And I have seen a couple of them come up and I love seeing them get posted. So this is just a way for you to personalize your chapter socials while also kind of maintaining those brand colors and brand style guides. So just a reminder that the password has been updated for the 2025 year. You should have that in your email inbox. I also included it in the National Volunteer Month social templates email, so you should have it in 2 different emails from me. But if you can't find it, always feel free to email me and I can forward it then. And also feel free to forward that password to any people who manage your social media or who work with the print to help make those brochures, anyone who you think might need it. As we've mentioned before, new templates are periodically being added, such as these social ones. If you have any suggestions or requests, feel free to email those to me. And then while we are on the topic of social media, this is just a quick note to go ahead and download any Facebook Live videos that you have. We've seen a notification saying that they're rolling out a new program, you could call it. Their storage is going to be limited for those live videos. And so once you're notified, it sounds like there's a 30-day period to then download those videos. And Mary Pearl, if you could drop that link that I have under that note into the chat, that's the meta announcement for this. So just as a precaution, go ahead and download those if you want to keep them, throw it in on a hard drive or something like that, if it's something that you want to save, because it does sound like they're going to start rolling out deleting those videos after a certain date. So that speakers list, I see the question in the chat, that lives at the state office. We won't be sharing that out. But if you're wanting to find a speaker for herps, for birds, whatever it might be, feel free to email me and then I will send you some specific contacts directly for people who have marked that as a topic that they are willing to speak on. So if you are wanting something from that speaker list, just email me and I can get that to you. I think this was Mary Pearl.
It is me. All right, so if you have not heard from your webmaster yet, you will shortly. There are some updates to the WordPress website. And so in the, before I get into the big updates, as always, we have a TXMN Tech Tuesday. That is the first Tuesday of the month at 12 o'clock. So it's the week before TMN Tuesdays. It's the first Tuesday. It is April 1st. This coming month. It's not an April Fool's joke, but my encouragement is that if you have a webmaster currently using our WordPress template, have them join this April 1st Tech Tuesday. They're not recorded because there's so much dynamic information that it's not valuable as a recording afterwards. So have them join the live if they can, or have somebody else join. But if you have not heard yet, there were some issues with our Events Calendar Pro plugin. It was an issue that started on our website, and then that plugin issue apparently migrated into other AgriLife servers and was causing a lot of problems. I know very little about this tech background here, enough to just say that they had problems and they told us with a day's notice that we have to remove the plugin in order to save the website stuff. Y'all, I don't work in that world for a reason. So they had to remove it. We gave a very short notice to your webmasters. Again, I apologize. We are simply the messenger in that. In doing so, it did remove recurring events. So if you had a first Tuesday of the month chapter meeting event, it removed everything after that first event, and you will have to go back in and re-add those recurring events on your calendar. Frustrating, I know, and we apologize. Dagna will be addressing this issue on the April 1st Tech Tuesday. I think she's got some recommendations of some other tools that we're going to look at using. Rather than Events Calendar, we might use a different type of event calendar plugin. So there's more to come on that. Just know if you've got issues with that, log into the April 1st Tech Tuesday. If you have more immediate issues that need attention of the WordPress team, email firstcall@ag.tamu.edu. All right, Michelle, you're up. And you're muted.
Yeah, I'm talking, but you're not hearing me because I didn't unmute myself. I've been giving an update on the VMS refresh and rebuild each month. And so last month we didn't have a ton of updates, but this month I have a couple to give you. Starting with the volunteer point of entry, overall, there's no changes for the end user still. There's no changes for the end user of our Master Naturalist volunteers reporting their hours in that volunteer side of the system. And it's not likely we'll see changes there at least until summer, late summer, if by then. Where there are some things, though not moving on to the VMS admins at your local chapter level, though you may not have seen changes at your level recently, I do want to give you some updates on some things that you can be doing at your VMS admins level. It's been a while since we've gone, it's been almost a year since we've gone statewide and looked at your local chapter opportunities. So as a local VMS admin, if your chapter could go through your opportunities, including advanced training opportunities and volunteer service opportunities at your local chapter level, and archive any of those that you no longer need. Same thing with the the personal local grids that you have developed, grids, filters, and surveys that your individual chapter may have developed for its individual use. So where there are any personal local grids, filters, and surveys that your chapter has developed, if you could go through again, now that it's been a year, review those and then archive or delete those you no longer use. For the VMS admins only, again, this does not affect our volunteers. It's those admins logging in through the e-coordinator side to manage the chapter VMS system at the local level. You may see a MFA, multi-factor authentication, pop up soon upon your e-coordinator login. And so that's all I know about that at this point. I do not have directions as far as what our local VMS admins will need to do in order to set up and complete the MFA. So just know that that will be coming, or you may be seeing it soon, and we'll have further instructions as we know them. For our VMS admins, again, we anticipate a test environment in the next few months leading up into the early summer. Still have no details and dates on that yet. As we've been over the past month, one of the things I've also been doing is preparing our quarterly quarterly federal aid report. And so just some general reminders as I've been doing that. I noticed some things as I've been preparing the quarterly report that could be general reminders back to, I think most of these revolve around approvers at your local chapter level, and then your VMS admins. Just a reminder that just if you could help remind some of your hours approvers that just maybe it's good to do an annual refresh on the Master Naturalist advanced training policies. I did notice some advanced training events that the topic wasn't even Texas. And so some of those things were being approved as advanced training at your local chapter level. Things like trail maintenance in the Adirondacks. Those types of things should never be approved as advanced training or for advanced training service hours at the local level. So just a reminder for some of your hours approvers to actually go in and look at what is reported in the LBE and make sure that it is fitting of Master Naturalist service. When in doubt, always refer back to the CMOP and the guiding documents for service and advanced training questions. This one would pertain to our VMS admins, approvers, and for those of you on your chapter boards who are confronted with service projects opportunities that are just questionable or you don't know how to answer. Please refer back to the CMOP and the guiding documents for those criteria for fitting service project opportunities and also fitting advanced training questions. And then one thing I noticed when I was sending out the notification for this meeting is that I got a lot of bounce back emails from chapter advisor email addresses. So if there's been some changeover in your chapter advisors, if you could update that information in your VMS. So I went into VMS and pulled a fresh new list this month to send to send the notification of this meeting to all of our presidents, chapter presidents, and chapter advisors. And so on the chapter advisors, if you could just take a fresh look at the chapter advisors that are listed for your chapter and make sure they're up to date, along with their email address being up to date. All right. And then my commitment to helping to improve reporting. I've asked your chapters to begin providing some information like this when you have chapter sponsored events, meetings, advanced training. If you could provide some information of how chapter members attending those could be reporting. An example for you for attending this meeting today, you would report to the chapter opportunity, chapter business. The project category there would be chapter and program business administration. president's duties, and then the service description you'd put in your LBE for today. Your logbook entry would be March Presidents and Advisors meeting with the state office.
Michelle, there's there's a question in the chat about the VMS admin newsletter or email list. Do messages like this go out to all VMS admins?
They go quarterly, yes. So we have a quarterly newsletter that goes out to admins. Sometimes it's monthly. Sometimes it's more than quarterly when we have, especially right now when we're going through the VMS update and refresh, rebuild. We may have things that we send out more frequent than quarterly, but at a minimum, we do have a quarterly newsletter that goes out to all admins in the system. Okay, moving on to another item. I just want to do a refresh reminder, and I bring it up because we had one chapter indicate that they've had some recent activity on this, and they were thankful just because we had been reminding them over the past couple months that these phishing scams continue to happen. And because they had talked about it at their local chapter level already, they were able to ward off the scam that the chapter recently received. So just a reminder that these phishing and scams, specifically through text and email, continue to happen. So just remain diligent. Okay, and then moving in, we've been remiss in giving kudos to our chapters, our program, and our chapter members. And so catching up on a couple of kudos, starting with the program at the top level, the Master Naturalist program recently in February received Outstanding Achievement Award for Community Engagement from the Society for Range Management. During their annual national or international meeting in Spokane, Washington in February. So congratulations to the Master Naturalist program and you as chapters at your local level and throughout all levels of the program for your commitment to community engagement. Additional kudos to our Master Naturalist chapters. So one of the things we've always asked you to share your chapter accolades and kudos with us and new things that you've been doing or trying. And so we want to share those out with the rest of you. Hopefully this gives you some more ideas at your local chapter level to promote your chapter and promote what you're doing. The Galveston Bay area chapter let us know that they're going to be visiting with their county commissioners court here pretty soon. And they're thinking of a check presentation to their county commissioners court, noting the value of Master Naturalist time in their local area. And as a reminder, our current value of Texas Master Naturalist volunteer time is $23 per hour. I know that's been a question here recently. So though the national value is higher than that, we currently, our Master Naturalist hours per the terms of our grant is currently valued at $23 per hour. Our Rio Brazos chapter is applying for has applied for a Texas Parks and Wildlife Co-op grant to the tune of almost $13,000. So congratulations to the Rio Brazos chapter and good luck on that. If you have received it or when you do receive that, please let us know and we'd be happy to share your project more. And then the Blackland Prairie chapter let us know that they are, in partnership with their local Parks and Recreation department at the city level, they are partnering to bring a training for National Parks and Rec. And I'm going to mess up some of the details on this, but they're bringing a training to their local area. And as part of helping with that, the organization that will be providing the training will be giving the Blackland Prairie chapter a $10,000, I don't even know what to call it, grant, maybe they may not be the right terms, but in support of them putting in the work to bring that meeting there. So stipend.
Yes.
Thank
So
you,
of
Rick.
course, the Master National have all the details for us. So Rio Brazos actually won that co-op grant. They are not applying for it. They won it in March.
Awesome.
And so we're excited to see all the great things that they're going to do with that. I think it involved some educational trunks and educational programming that their local chapter is going to be putting together. And then as Rick commented in the chat, the Black Glen Prairie chapter is working on that stipend. So lots of great things coming.
Yes. So thank y'all for sharing that stuff with us. And if I've missed someone, please let us know. And we'd like to share that with your chapters, with the rest of you in the next subsequent months coming up.
And share those with us so that we can put them on our social media. We can shout from the mountaintops. Send them to Hannah so she can get it out there for y'all.
Best way to make sure that I see any socials that you post is to tag the state program, either Instagram or Facebook or both, in your caption for that post, because then I get that notification when it comes up. Because I follow all of the chapter, social medias, but there's a lot of y'all, so I sometimes miss stuff. So the best way is to tag that state program social.
And then I see in the chat that there's I was asked to reiterate or mention the value of Texas Master Naturalist volunteer time again, and we currently use the value of $23 per hour. Okay. More kudos. So moving on down to the member level of the program, Deb Manley from our Tierra Grande Master Naturalist chapter was instrumental in helping to identify and discover a new plant. So introducing the woolly devil, and I'm not going to even attempt to butcher that Latin name there, but that was shared earlier this year. That was discovered in a very remote part of Big Bend National Park. It's been newly discovered and confirmed. So congratulations to Deb Manley and our Tierra Grande chapter on that great find.
And it made national headlines, which is incredible. Just incredible what y'all are doing. All right, wrapping up. I think I'm wrapping up, or Michelle, I don't know if you are. I think you've got one more slide coming, but just a quick calendar check as we're reaching that 1 hour mark. We do have one more slide of some questions that were asked for President's Roundtable, but if you do have to go, we understand. The full recording will be on our website later this week. But some dates to put on your calendar. The next time we'll talk as a chapter presidents and advisors meeting is April 29th. In between then and now, as we've mentioned, April is going to be busy, busy, busy. If you have any questions, so go to the next one. If you have any questions, the Who You Gonna Call list is still active. And so we've put this slide out there before, but just quickly, you can see that we've got a couple of different avenues for you to help you direct your questions as they come up. Let you keep going to keep time. And then Michelle, you've had a couple of questions come in for this President's Corner.
In response to the notification of the meeting today, we had a couple questions come in for President's Corner. I already mentioned the request to let us know about grants, awards, and other accolades your members and chapters receive. In addition to that, we have the questions that have come in. So we have a chapter seeking advice from other chapters. They're struggling to find new board members for several positions that at the end of the year. So there are several board members that will be rotating off the board, and their kudos to this chapter for already working to fill for next year. But what they're finding is that they're struggling finding new people to take on the positions in the new year. And so they wanted to hear from you, seek your advice on how they should proceed, or recommendations you have on how they should proceed to fill those spots, meeting with individual people who would be good, and working towards having a full slate for the new year. I'm going to run through the questions first, and then we can come back if anyone wants to come off mic and if they have advice that they're able to give right away, we can do that. So second question here, a chapter is seeking advice for handling proposed volunteer service opportunities that are unprecedented. And I don't have much more information on the specific item at task there, but the one thing that I'd like to reiterate again for this is, as a chapter, it'd be extremely helpful to go back to the CMOP and our guiding documents. There are criteria for both volunteer service opportunities that need to be addressed to make it a fitting master naturalist volunteer service criteria, and there are like to be addressed. So there's the need tos, and the need tos, have tos, and the things we would like to be addressed through fitting volunteer service opportunities. And then the same thing goes for advanced training opportunities. There's the need to be addressed. So for it to be counted as a advanced training, there's the need to be addressed, have to be addressed items, and then there's the like to be addressed items there. And so those are covered in the CMOP. And I'm hopeful that handling such a question of unprecedented service opportunity may be able to be handled by looking at the criteria once again. But if you have further questions, if this chapter has further questions on the specific example that you're struggling with, feel free to reach out to our state office and we can help as well. Then another question, advice for motivating members to become more involved. So across the board in all things, not just at the board level, but throughout different chapter management items, managing chapter projects, stepping up to become leaders in that. So what advice would other chapters have for motivating members to become more involved in all things related to the program and chapter? And then we have another chapter who has asked for advice and feedback for IT, AV, and tech support, what may be considered duties and roles. So this AV, IT, and tech support is not a committee that is outlined by our chapter operating handbook. It is listed as something that can be added for a standing committee to choose from. I know one of the questions that this chapter had was, who do they report to? And so I want to mention again our chapter operating handbook template. So in there, there is a list of standing committees that a chapter can choose from to add. And it is also mentioned in there that standing committees need to report to, should be under the leadership of another designated board member. So that's at your local chapter's discretion to choose which one. And I know there are some chapters out there who have an IT tech committee that maybe perhaps you could visit with that chapter to see how they have organized things at their local chapter level, since it is not already defined in the chapter operating handbook. And so that covers my questions that I received prior to the meeting. Here, I think someone mentioned in chat that they have suggestions on how to find board members. So we'll go back up to that top one. And again, this President's Quarter, I know we're kind of over the time that we promised, over the hour that we promised to you. So if you wanted to stay on for a couple of minutes and connect with these chapters, we can do that. But know that the rest of our time here will be covering these President's Corner chapters. So if you do have to leave, know that this is kind of the end of our content for today.
Michelle, there's one more slide of
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, yes. One more slide. So one of the questions received is, yes, Insurance 101 document. So there was a chapter that submitted they had some questions on the Insurance 101 document, and I tried to sum this up best I could. So we have a 3-page document on the website. And if you go to our chapter documents link and scroll down to the TMN Insurance and Liability Protection 101, that'll take you to a 3-page document that we have available there. And so the way I can sum up some of the questions that were presented to me regarding this document is applicability of many of the items in this document will differ if your chapter is set up as its own nonprofit or not. And so if your chapter has specific questions, we can visit outside of this meeting with your specific questions and your chapter's case in mind on how you're set up. So there's a lot of if-then questions in this. So
yeah, let me add some clarification here. So this insurance document 101 was developed in 2016, but that does not date it. The guiding document here is formed in a way that it is a frequently asked questions for you to take back and consider with your local chapter. So my strong encouragement, we cannot tell you what to do. We are not insurance lawyers. We're not your insurance. What are they called? I don't know what the agents are called. Agents, that's the word. Is to find an insurance agent and ask these questions. Share this 1-pager with, or this 3-pager with them, and ask them if there's additional coverage that you as a chapter may consider, depending on if you are a nonprofit or a for-profit organization, 501c3 or not. Developed as a 501c3, ask about directors and officers insurance, ask about additional liability that you may need. We cannot answer that question for you. We can only provide this document as a reference guide for you to ask those questions locally. So we will not be updating this beyond maybe some typos that I have found. Of course, we found typos, but it's not a dated document as if the information is old in a way. So just wanted to throw that out there. Again, the first step that I would do is I would print that off and I'd walk into an insurance agent's office and ask them to help clarify what your chapter may need or may not need. All right, Michelle, did you want to go back to that first question? Anne had offered, Anne Mayville had offered to unmute and talk about how they find board members. Anne, do you want to unmute? There you are.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Okay, this is how I approach people to get them to volunteer to be on our board. We have a form that we use for students when they come into the class and ask a lot of questions about their education, what they've done in the past, their present role, if they're still working. And I keep those in a folder for each year, each class. And when we need somebody on the board, say a treasurer, a secretary or something, I go in there and I look for people. Like when I was looking for a treasurer, I was looking at the new students' forms that they had filled out. And one woman said she worked for the IRS when she did work. So I approached her. Oh, sure, she'd do it. So I hold those from year to year. And when we have an opening, I go back to those and sift through them and find somebody that might fill that position. That's how I do it.
That's great. That's connecting skills and experience with need.
The needs of our chapter, correct.
Mm-hmm.
the one recommendation I have for chapters finding board members too is a blanket statement isn't as effective. A blanket statement of we're seeking people to fill these positions during a chapter meeting isn't as effective as one-on-one conversations with individuals who your board feels would be good at filling those roles or filling certain tasks. And so if you are a representative of your nomination committee, or let's say you're looking to fill a chapter president, maybe the current chapter president would visit with a few people individually with a few people who they think would be good at filling those roles. Answer their questions, give them specifics about time commitment, meeting times, meeting dates, things like that. those seem to be all of the questions, part of the questions people have. But those one-on-one individual visits are ideal.
And there's some echoing of that in the chat as well.
Yeah, so in the chat, Carolyn says they form a committee. Committee takes recommendations, picks who they think best fits the role at the time, and then recruits them, works towards recruiting them. And our guiding documents are set up for a nominating committee. So bylaws, so every chapter has the ability through the bylaws to put together a nominating committee and work in this manner. And so that is available and part of our bylaws.
Perfect.
Yeah. Cindy in the chat says, we encourage all program directors to recruit assistants who can eventually become directors or move up into those positions.
I want to go back because I'm feeling guilty. I feel like I very strongly yelled at y'all about insurance. We have reached the limit of our expertise to be able to answer the insurance questions. And the only thing I can say is to go and talk to a local agent. So I hope I didn't come off strong. I feel guilty that I kind of yelled a little bit like, we don't know what to do, just go talk to them.
And Cheryl, I saw your question there. We can visit we can visit in depth about the specific your chapter's case and conditions and the questions that you have. So sorry, I haven't been able to do that yet.
All right, with that, I think we're getting close. I mean, I think we've got most every question answered in the chat. Thank y'all. It was heavy towards the end here with questions, and that's good. That's the intention here. We'll have more information for next month as we get closer to as we enter into April of 2025. But thank you guys, everybody, for everything that you do, and stay tuned for big things in the next couple of weeks. Thanks, y'all.